Contract drafting, signature, and publication. This video manual is designated for contracting authorities that are tasked with drafting, signing, and publishing contracts in public procurement processes. Prerequisites for this process are creation of the procurement procedures and submission and evaluation of the bids. Drafting, signing, and publishing contracts remains a responsibility of the procurement official, whom, upon undertaking said activities, transfers responsibilities to the contract manager. The contract manager, appointed by the institution and registered by the procurement officer, is responsible for contract management and implementation. Upon evaluation of bids and compilation of the evaluation report, the procurement officer publishes a notice on the contracting authority's decision, B58. Publication of the notice is performed by going to the Tender Dossier button and then clicking Show All Functions. On the bottom of the Tender Dossier section, you will find the button that offers the possibility for adding a new document. By clicking on it, we are provided the option to upload documents in relevant languages. We click on Browse on the side of our pre-selected language and upload the notice of the contracting authority. Click Save. As you may note, this document was successfully saved. Upon publication of the B58 document, the terms for review requests and appeals for the economic operators begins to elapse. Upon expiry of the deadline, and if no requests for review or appeals are received, the contracting authority may enter the process of contract award. Select My Procurements, select the respective procedure, and click on Details. When procedure details are visible, click on Contract Award. This will reveal all steps leading to the preparation of the contract award notice. First step, General Procurement Information, shows details such as case title, language version, and other notes. Click on Continue to move to the next step. Second step, Responsible Official, shows respective information such as name, surname, telephone number, and email address. Save and continue to the next step. Third step, Tender Information, shows operators bidding in the procedure. Save and continue. Step 3.1 shows the first operator with accompanying information such as bidder, bid code, case status, bid receipt date, bid receipt time, and case code. Also, this tab reveals the price bid by said economic operator and its status. To proceed to the next step, save and continue. Step 3.2 takes us to the next operator. Similar information is provided for the second bidder. The same applies in case there are more bidders. Save and continue. In Step 4, Contract Award, it is visible that the selection criterion was the lowest priced eligible bid. Therefore, the system automatically generates and selects the bid with the lowest price. Save and continue. In Step 5, Contracts, the procurement officer is required to search the winning operator in the Search tab and then select the winning bidder. Having selected the operator, we can confirm by clicking Accept. At this point, the system generates the contract code that will be used in contract signature and management phases. Save and continue. In the subsequent Substep 5.1, Contract Information, the procurement official places dates, including the award date, planned contract signature date, and number of months or years of applicability. This section also shows the price of the winning bidder and number of eligible bids. Save and continue. In the sixth step, Publication Options, the system generates the current date and can provide additional information in relation to the contract award notice. Save and continue. In the last, seventh step, Create Contract Award Notice. The procurement officer creates the notice on contract award and should check the accuracy of data prior to publication. Afterwards, the procurement officer sends the contract award notice for publication by clicking Send for Publication. Save. Preparation of the draft contract for signature by CA and OE. Prerequisites for this process are: creation of the procurement procedure, submission and evaluation of the bids, award of the contract, and publication of the notice on contract award. Upon publication of the contract award notice, the status changes to under contracting. Draft contract document. Following is a presentation of the draft contract document creation from the sample document and date registered beforehand. The procurement officer creates the draft contract document through the electronic procurement system and sends it for approval to the awarded economic operator, also through the electronic procurement system. To create a draft contract document, a procurement officer needs to open the Procurements window from the main menu. Then he/she needs to select a procurement procedure by clicking on the relevant tabular screen row and then clicking on the Details button. Now the system shows a summary page of the procurement procedure, which provides basic information on the procedure and all relevant documents and notices. It also shows buttons that enable the procurement officers to start working on procurement-related processes. The system will allow the procurement officer to start only processes that are eligible based on the current procurement phase. The procurement officer needs to click on the Draft Contract button to start working on the draft contract in the system. Following are several steps to be undertaken, with each step summarizing logically connected dates. All steps of the draft contract compilation are explained in the following. We start by registering all contract data. In the first step, the system shows the list of contracts granted through procurement procedures and for which draft contracts can be prepared. To continue to the next step, click on Continue. Now the system shows the form used for reading or amending contract data. The following data will be used to complete the sample draft contract: bid insurance release, date, performance insurance, receipt of performance insurance, date, amount of performance insurance, validity of performance insurance, prepayment if applicable, date of payment if applicable, amount if applicable, prepayment guarantee, advance, date of receipt if applicable, amount if applicable. To save data, click on Save and Continue. In the second step, the system shows the list of contracts granted under procurement procedure for which the draft contract document can be prepared. To continue to the next step, click on Save and Continue. In this step, the procurement officer can click on the Create button to create the draft contract in all 3 official languages. The document can be created only in one official language by clicking on the respective language buttons. The icons with names of languages appear when the user hovers the mouse arrow above the Create button. As soon as the draft contract document is saved in the system, a user with appropriate security privilege may download said document. For instance, a procurement officer may initially create a draft contract document, save it to disk, and then modify and supplement it, for instance, by adding necessary data, and upload it again. Noteworthy, the draft contract created will have the contract number, names of contracting parties, and contract value, and no interference with the contract number is allowed. To continue further, click on Save and Continue. The procurement officer sends the draft contract document to the economic operator for approval. To do this, the procurement officer needs to click on the Approve and Send to the economic operator at the end of the step. The system will send the notification to the respective economic operator. The economic operator, upon receipt of the notification, in the Messages section, can select to approve or reject the draft contract. This is performed by going to the Contract Management menu. Under the Contracts submenu, and selecting the Draft Contract button, and Contract Plan appears, allows for content downloading and review. In the event that the winning bid is submitted by a group of economic operators, the message will only be sent to the lead consortium member. If the economic operator or the consortium lead confirms the content, it may also supplement it with additional comments and documents and is able to upload it to the system. This is confirmed by clicking on the Approve and Submit to Contracting Authority button. When the economic operator approves or rejects the draft contract document, the system sends an electronic message to the procurement officer. Afterwards, the procurement officer can see the status of the draft contract document as either approved by both parties, CA, EO, or rejected by the EO. To do this, the procurement officer needs to open the Procurement tab from the main menu, select a procedure by clicking on the relevant tab screen, and then clicking the Details button. Now the system shows the summary page of the procurement procedure, in which the user needs to initiate the draft contract process and enter the relevant sub-step by putting the respective contract number. If the draft contract is rejected by the EO, the procurement officer may resubmit the document for preparation by clicking at Return to Preparation and may restart the approval process from the beginning. After the EO has accepted and approved the draft contract document, the respective procurement officer from the contracting authority receives a message that confirms that the draft contract document is approved by both parties. This concludes the process of drafting the contract document, and the contract is ready for signature by the parties. After this process has concluded, the procurement officer creates the contract signature notice, B52, and adds to it data of significance for contract execution and management. Following is a presentation of contract implementation by publishing the Notice on Contract Signature. In order to commence contract implementation, the procurement officer is expected to publish the Contract Signature Notice B52. The contract will automatically change its status to under implementation as soon as the B52 notice is published. Following this, the procurement officer is supposed to select a procurement procedure by clicking on the relevant tab and then clicking the Details button. Now the system will show the summary page for the procurement procedure, which will show basic information on the procedure and all respective documents and notices. Also, it will show buttons that provide the procurement officers the possibility to start working on procurement-related processes. The system will allow the procurement officer to start only processes that are currently available under certain procurement phases. To initiate the process, the procurement officer clicks on the Contract Signature button. Then the system opens the Contract Signature Notification option. This menu is divided into a number of steps, all of which collect logically connected data. The first part of the menu shows contract data. The most important step in this section is Flow 3, in which the procurement officer is supposed to register the contract execution date for each contract. This is an obligatory field. The first step, General Procurement Information, shows details like file name, procurement activity inception date, number of requests for tender dossier withdrawal, and other information. To save and continue to the following step, click on Save and Continue. Step 2. Responsible Person Officer includes information such as contact person, telephone, email. To save and continue to the following step, click on Save and Continue. Step 3. Contract data. Present the name of the economic operator and contract code. To save and continue to the following step, click on Save and Continue. Substep 3 requires the exact placement of the signature date and represents an obligatory step, as well as bid insurance. Performance insurance, date of receipt, amount, and validity of the performance insurance. Further, the options include selection of yes or no on the advance payment required option, date of payment, and amount. At the end are information on prepayment guarantee and accompanying information. Save and continue. Following is the presentation on appointing a contract manager. the procurement officer is required to appoint a contract manager, a sole person, or a number of persons. When the procurement officer opens the 4th sub-step on the respective contract, the contract manager's list appears. The procurement officer is able to add one or more officers from the contracting authority to this list. Usually, one sole contract manager is appointed per contract. If the contracting authority list does not contain a contract manager, the procurement officer is required to add one in the system. This is performed in the My Data menu, My Users, in which we click on New Users and complete all required data. After all data is placed, click Save. Following, the role of the contract manager is defined from the Role Types list. Accept to confirm the role. Finally, we save our selection. After having clicked on the Save button, the name of the contract manager appears in the contracting authority list, while he/she also receives an email confirming his new role. In the event where there is a list of contracting authority managers, the procurement officer selects the contract manager from the list by clicking on the search icon. In the tabular search page, the user selects the contract manager by clicking on the Accept button. After appointment, upon clicking the Message button, the contract manager will receive a confirmation message. Following is a presentation on appointment of contract lot managers. In cases where the contract is divided in 2 or more parts, lots, the procurement officer is required to appoint one contract manager per lot. In Step 4, it becomes clear that there are 2 economic operators and 2 contract codes carried from the process of publishing the notice on contract award. The contract manager for Lot 1 is defined in Step 4.1 from the Contracting Authority list. After appointment, upon clicking the Message button, the contract manager will receive a confirmation message. The contract manager for Lot 2 is defined in Step 4.2 from the Contracting Authority list. Similarly, after appointment, upon clicking the Message button, the contract manager will receive a confirmation message. Following is a presentation on appointment of the contract manager's direct supervisor. The procurement officer is required to appoint a direct supervisor to the contract manager, one or more persons, the role of which is to supervise the manager's work during contract implementation and to approve the contractor's performance evaluation reports. When opening the 5th sub-step on the respective contract, the procurement officer finds the manager's direct supervisor list. The procurement officer may add one or more contracting authority officials to this list. Usually, there is one contract manager supervisor per contract. If the contracting authority list does not contain any contract manager's director supervisor, the procurement officer may add one to the system. This is performed in the My Data menu, My Users, in which we click on New Users and complete all required data. After all data is placed, click Save. Then, the Contract Manager role is defined from the Role Types list. Accept to confirm the role. Save the selection. After clicking on the Save button, the name of the Contract Manager's Director Supervisor of the contracting authority will appear on the list, and the supervisor will receive a confirmation email. After clicking on the Save button, the name of the Contract Manager's Direct Supervisor of the contracting authority will appear on the list, and the supervisor will receive a confirmation email. Substep addresses the issue of Contract Manager's Direct Supervisor for specific contracts. The Procurement Officer selects the Contract Manager's Direct Supervisor from the Contracting Authority's Administrators list by clicking on the Search button. Upon return of the tabular search, the user makes the appointment by clicking on the Accept button. Upon confirmation, the Manager's Supervisor should be informed on the appointment by clicking the Message icon. Uploading the signed contract in the system. Upon signature, the Procurement Officer is required to upload the signed contract document in the system. The signed and uploaded contract should contain the winning bid and should be correctly titled. Contract name should also contain the contract number. The Procurement Officer uploads the signed document in Substep 6. The signed contract is available for viewing by the defined Contract Manager through the Contract Management module. To save data and continue to the next step, click on the Save and Continue button. Review of the Contract Management Plan. Creation of the Contract Management Plan is a responsibility of the Contract Manager. However, the Procurement Officer can view this document upon creation. For each contract, the Procurement Officer can check if the document exists and review it under Substep 7. To save and continue to the next step, click on the Save and Continue button. The 8th step shows publication options. In this step, the Procurement Officer is required to place the data of sending the notice on contract signature. To save data and continue to the next step, click on the Save and Continue button. Step 9 addresses Notice on Contract Signature, B52. In this step, the Procurement Officer can create a Notice on Contract Signature, B52. To do this, the Procurement Officer clicks on the Create button. Further, the system will create the document. The system will collect all data placed through the previous steps and include them appropriately in the notice. After creation, you may open the PDF or HTML format to review the contents. This may be done through the Open function. Having checked and confirmed the contents, the notice should be sent for publication by clicking on the Send for Publication button. The following day, the system will send the confirmation of the successful publication to the Contracting Authority's Procurement Officer. To save data, click on the Save button. After publication of the notice, the status of the file is changed to Contracted. The contracting authority's procurement officer may view the summary of works conducted to this moment by going to the main menu in the Contract Management and then viewing Contract Monitoring, selecting the respective contract and clicking on the Monitoring Report button, which generates the relevant report. Also, the procurement officer may view the contract card, which is created upon publication of the contract signature notice. This contract card shows all contracts awarded, selects the procedure for which the contract signature notice is published, and provides the Contract Card button. This card shows in summarized format all contract data collected through the procedure, including contract number, title, and other data such as the name of the awarded operator, contracting authority, type of contract, value, status and date of signature, etc. It also contains the name of the contracting authority's manager appointed for the contract. The rest of the card data is completed in the contract management and implementation processes.